And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Wednesday, May 15th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome on a Wednesday. We are glad to have you with us. And, of course, each Wednesday we're on the air for Cedar Stone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson, Simple Banking, Simply Better. Bob McDonald's going to join us now by phone this morning. Bob is President and Chief Executive Officer. And, Bob, sorry to interrupt your conversation there when the on-the-air light comes on, but good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm sorry I didn't see the red light.
That's a good one. How you doing?
So tell MJ that I'm sorry that I stepped onto her production, and tell Billy hello. I miss seeing all three of you, and I miss seeing my buddy who's your guest this morning. But I hope all of you are doing well.
Well, we'll leave our audience in suspense for a minute or two as to who my guest is, but he's a very close friend of yours. We'll give him that much of a hint.
He is. We go back 30 years and been good friends and support one another, and I appreciate him very much. And his wife, I won't give up her name, but then I'll give up his name. But Coleman, I tell you, things are going really well. We're very excited about how the year's starting out, and we're about midway through the second quarter of the year, which is hard to believe when I say that out loud. But there's a lot going on in the community. I talked a little bit last week about some upcoming events that we were involved in last week, and all those turned out great. The Wilson County Civic League had their annual fundraising dinner at Cumberland University in Baird Chapel, and they had a great turnout, and I think they were celebrating their 40th anniversary as an institution. So congratulations to Ronnie Kelly and his group. They do great work for the community. And then yesterday was the annual spring outing at Andrew Jackson's Hermitage. I think we had a record crowd there, over 500 people, and the rain. They decided to just go through and do it and not worry about the rain. And it rained yesterday morning, but it stopped right when the event started, and it held off. So we had a great day there, and of course today. We've got our monthly luncheon with the Mount Juliet Chamber. So all those things, Coleman, that I mentioned are just signs and evidence of a healthy community that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to see all these events and activities take place.
Well, I try to help remind you each week to mention that you do loans at Cedar Stone. That's one of the ways, at least, and probably the main way that a bank makes money is to lend money. And you do have money to lend, and you can get that loan at Cedar Stone.
Well, you can indeed, and we're busy when I talk about how pleased we are with how the year is going, and that's one area, and we're real happy with our lending, and we're loaning money for all of our purposes. Folks are buying homes and cars, and they're renovating homes, and businesses are buying equipment, and so that's just another sign of the healthy economy that our community has, and so we're delighted to serve our customers when they have that need, and our deposits are growing, and whether it's a money market account or a certificate of deposit. And we also, Coleman, I'll kind of segue into that, wrapping up today, our Simply Free checking account. As you know, we celebrated our 20th anniversary as a bank last month.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been offering free checking from the very beginning. And we believe it's an important account, and we believe it's important that it be free. And it's got all the features that anyone could want, Coleman. If you want to do your banking with paper, you can do that. We give you checks, or if you want to do your banking electronically, we have all the features that are there for electronic banking, whether you do your banking by the phone or your computer. So we can do banking any way that anyone wants to do their banking.
Well, you have really a great staff. You have now everybody hasn't been there 20 years. You've got I know that you have and a few others, but you have some people who have quite a bit of longevity with you, which says something for the bank too.
Well, we do, Coleman, and the first thing that we look at when we look at folks joining the family, as we call it, we want to make sure that they possess a characteristic of having a genuine desire to serve, and we think that's important, whether we're serving one another, whether we're serving our customers or serving our communities. We want to make sure that they have a genuine desire to serve. If they've got that, then we can work out anything else. And so that we think that's important, and we think that shows every day when you walk in one of our 3 locations.
Well, and there again, that's a unique thing about Cedarstone. All of them are on Highway 70.
That's right. From Lebanon all the way to Donaldson with Mount Juliet in between. And, Coleman, those are 3 distinct markets, 3 distinct communities, but they complement one another, and they have similarities, but each are different. And I'm sure your upcoming guests would attest to that. But they're great markets, great communities, and we're delighted to serve all 3.
And we're delighted to have you here each Wednesday to tell us about it. So thanks for being with us today, Bob McDonald.
Thank you, my friend.
All right. That is Bob, President, CEO, Cedarstone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson. Simple banking, simply better. And we are, right now, 10 minutes after the hour, and the mystery guest is ready to be revealed. And it's no mystery. He's here on this particular Wednesday of every month. Mark Hinsley with the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm doing well, and it's nice to see you today.
I'll tell you about my favorite time of the month is the 3rd Wednesday of the morning at 7:10. Get to spend a few minutes with you.
That's when we commence.
That's right.
Well, what's the last month been for you?
The last month has been busy for a lot of folks. Even with everything from Mother's Day, graduations, weddings, proms, and even if you don't have a family member that's celebrating that, there's a pretty good chance that your friends or neighbors or coworkers do, and you just kind of put things on hold for a little while and try to. There's many ways to celebrate, and this is a busy month. Busy month.
And you might mention you got a busy day today, and an important day, and the whole thing. This is probably the highlight of your week today.
I'll tell you what, we have really been fortunate having some pretty high-profile speakers at our programs, and I think it speaks well to Wilson County that folks like that say, well, we better go out there and check on those folks. But this morning we have Mr. Nihill. He's our speaker at our monthly luncheon, and he's the president and CEO of the Tennessee Titans. And this time of year is always there's always new energy and passion and excitement about it, and probably more so than ever with the Tennessee Titans with everything they have going on, and the future looks bright. And so we're going to get an up-close visit with him, and then next month, we have the Nashville Airport. Stacy's coming out, Stacy Kickens, to come and give us an update on what a multi-billion-dollar expansion looks like at the Nashville Airport, which is huge for our region.
Yeah, and I don't know who you've got securing speakers, but it sounds like they're really doing a bang-up job.
Well, I'll tell you what, the young lady comes in here and speaks for Vanderbilt once, on Tuesday mornings or whatever. I won't give Tracy Pope's name away. But no, she's got a Rolodex that's unbelievable, and her and the whole leadership team are working hard to give even more value and relevance for our community and for our chamber investors.
Well, you have how long have you been in this position with the chamber?
I'm in my 26th year.
Right. Well, you have seen a lot of growth in the chamber during that time. Of course, you've seen a lot of growth in Mount Juliet itself. There are a lot more businesses there now, and of course, there are more members of the chamber.
It's certainly not done the way it used to be, and it's not just that our particular chamber has changed. I know we have, and we're reaping some of the benefits from decisions that were made a long time ago to put us on this path. But the industry's changed a lot too, and not just the chamber industry, but any membership organization has to approach things different now than they used to. And by used to, I'm talking about even 10 or 15 years ago, it was just assumed that, my grandfather was a Rotarian, so my dad was a Rotarian, so I guess I'll join and be a Rotarian. Or my dad would have always, or mom would always join the chamber. Well, those days I'd say those are pretty well gone. every one of those organizations, and I think you could even extend it to churches. People expect and deserve, and they want something out of it. And we're always talking about, they got an itch. We just got to find out how to scratch that itch and what's important to them, and then find a way within the scope of what we can do to deliver, something that provides service and something meaningful for them.
Well, occasions like today, when you have a very prominent member of the community come to speak, even prominent in Nashville, that calls attention to the chamber.
It does, and just like anybody else, in business out there, you look for those opportunities where to get maybe somebody new in your door, and then be prepared when they walk in, whether it's a restaurant or a car dealership or a church. When they come in, make sure they have the very best possible experience, and it validates the people that are there. Hey, this is kind of what I signed up for, and it makes them proud. I mean, our community, there's a lot of season ticket holders, I'm sure, for the Titans in Wilson County, Mount Juliet. So, we fill up the train for them every home game and send them down there. So, and I'm sure it's good for them as well. And that's what that mutually beneficial relationship with anybody is what makes our job a lot easier. Yeah. So, and it's good. We had last month 19 more new business licenses in Mount Juliet. That brings us at the end of April to 79, which that's 247 for the year if we stay on course, I believe. And we are we had 205 last year. So in a 2-year period, 425, 430 new business licenses.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Yes, so that's why I have to have my paper with me, because I used to be able to sit here and, I remember that. We did that ribbon cutting. I know all 3 new businesses now. I got my pages in small print, numbered 1 through 5 for you this morning. But, I know it's probably up on break.
Time for us to take a break.
I'll be ready when we get back.
Is with us, and we'll talk more in a moment on Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford and the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day, up to 30 days after the sale. There'll be any competitors' pricing on the tires they sell. 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. There's a couple of accidents out here. They're trying to clear one a minute ago. They're on 40 westbound near Central Pike. That was aggravating all that heavy traffic that's coming through that section of Hermitage. All the traffic coming in right now from Wilson County, the Mount Juliet area, headed towards Hermitage on 40 westbound. It's Central Pike again. They're trying to move it, but it's already slowing down that heavy traffic flow. Traffic's also heavy 24 westbound, passing 840, leaving Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, headed towards Davidson County. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken has new items on a new menu. They're all delicious. You got to check them out. Order online today, princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Are you facing a challenging time that you need help navigating? Well, look no further than your local law firm of Kane and Crowell. At the offices of Kane and Crowell, our team of experienced attorneys is here to guide you through every step of the process. With a proven track record of success and a commitment to our clients and our community, look no further than the team at Kane and Crowell to fight for your rights and provide representation you deserve. 615-784-4800.
We continue here on this Wednesday morning. Thanks to Mark Hinsley for making a monthly appearance on Coleman & Company. I always look forward to having you. It's an easy half hour, first of all, because you have plenty to talk about. I don't even have to ask a lot of questions, but I'm ready in case.
Well, I just come to share a little bit of good news and try to keep the momentum going if I can. And
and I still remember CEO, meaning Chief Encouragement Officer, and it does describe you very well.
Well, at the end of the day, if somebody can do that, offer somebody a word of encouragement, try never miss that opportunity. But we've had a lot of new businesses in Mount Juliet, and lots going on. I'll try to get through some of them, but most folks know where the Amazing Christmas Place is. Judd Sellers redeveloped that whole area and kind of putting the finishing touches on it with Leon's Famous Deli, Maniacs, and Footgear. They're all open and ringing up the cash register now. Matt Wilson, a friend and fellow Rotarian, he bought the former Minchie's building in has Wilson's Outdoor Garden Center. It looks beautiful, and I know he's doing well. Mount Juliet Elite Gymnastics, Five Below, and the Little Sunshine Playhouse, which is by the Help Center. And I'm sure all of them are. I'm not that intimately familiar with them, but that is a big need in the community. Child care, primary school learning. That place, it's fabulous. I mean, it's a magnificent looking facility, and they're full. And someone told me yesterday that they're even contemplating putting a second one almost on the same, right there next to it. And I guess as I was talking to him, I didn't realize I continue to find out more about how important and how not only expensive but competitive, and that it seems like they open one and they're full. So I know that's going to be a concentrated effort, because if you don't take care of child care, provide opportunities at a reasonable cost, then people that have kids, they can't be an employee, because if you're paying more to have your child in child care than you are making, it doesn't make sense. And if it's eating up too much money. Mm-hmm. So I know that's something that's on the mind of the JECDB, Corey, Tammy, and they're trying to, and Jeremy, deal with workforce issues, labor. How are we going to keep the workforce growing as we bring in new business and industry? And childcare is a huge deal. But we cut the ribbon at Southern Rhythm Cattle Company on Lebanon Road, close to where the McCluskey farm used to be. Fresh produce, locally sourced beef. JTA Land Surveying, always like it when a business relocates out of Nashville, and they took up 2 suites in Faulkner Landing, and they're up and running. Family Care Centers, a mental health service opened on Lebanon Road across from West Wilson Middle School. ASW, a new construction company, is going to have their open house, I believe, tomorrow night in Hawk Landing, which is that new complex across from Green Hill High School that Steve Griffith developed. And then a couple of things that are going on in the community this month. It always warms my heart, and I get a probably the best view in all of Mount Juliet for the Healing Flags. The Exchange Club and the American Legion put up 300 American flags there by the clock tower every Memorial Day, and my office is right there overlooking that. And that, I think that's they won. They're going to win our Community Enhancement Award. And anybody that's listening, that's going to our monthly luncheon today, sorry to ruin the surprise for you, but I'm glad they're getting recognized. And I want to congratulate our leading women. They know who they are. Kenna and Katie. Katie's with Cumberland University. There are 2 chairs they raised, and the leading women just recently awarded, I think, over $3,000 in scholarships to local graduating young ladies from Wilson County to help further their education, and that is something that they've been doing a very good job of, extraordinary job of for a number of years now. So I'm glad they keep that up, and we are lucky that we have partnered with Cumberland University, and we have an intern. We're going to get to work with a young lady from, I believe she might live up in Defeated Creek area. She commutes, but she'll be starting with us the first week of June, and we'll be working with her and trying to help her.
Have you done this before? Lots of times, maybe?
I wouldn't say lots of times. My personal experience with an intern is probably limited to maybe 5, I suppose, over the years. We used to have co-op students when they had the technical was in the school, and you could work half a day at a job back in the day.
Yeah.
And we had one of those almost all the time, and a couple of them turned into employees after they got out of school, and that even happened before I was there. So I don't know why that's, well, there's probably many reasons why it doesn't work like that anymore, but we're fortunate to have her. And something else we're really proud of, somebody comes to you and says, well, how about if we have a program like this? And, well, I don't know. We've never done that before, but I guess we can do it. And you want to be in charge? And 10 years ago this Friday, Sam Anderson said, yeah, I'll be in charge of it, because he was passionate about, and we're proud of, Leadership by the Book. It's a Bible-led group of people that get together once a month just to work on and work with people that know they can use biblical principles in running a good business and being good community stewards. And they've met religiously the third Friday of every month for 10 years. So happy birthday to all of them. I know everybody's excited about the afternoon of Sunday, June the 2nd, because it's been over 4 years, but that's the kind of the coming out party, the public opening of the new West Wilson Middle School. And not only is it going to, I won't say put things back to normal, because there certainly is a new normal, but that is a beautiful, beautiful building. It took a long time, but that is something that Wilson County can be very, very proud of. And so I know those children are excited about it, the faculty, they all have to be. And
it has been a long time.
It has been a long time, but
a lot of things have led to that. But
if you just drive from the interstate to the railroad tracks, there were some places down there that were devastated by the tornado.
Mm-hmm.
But time and patience and vision has really helped turn that into, it's like the Phoenix Rising, I guess. Beautiful buildings. They're well integrated into the neighborhood. It's very nice. I made one of my more popular posts on Facebook. It seemed to resonate with folks. One night last week, it had kind of quit raining after work, and got about an hour and a half's worth of chores done or whatever, and it was probably 6 o'clock. And I still wasn't completely tired yet, so I thought, I'm going to run to Lowe's. So I live out north of Mount Juliet, drove all the way to Lowe's, loaded up my truck, and as I was coming back, it was that damp, kind of cool night or whatever, but everybody's lawn was cut, and I started looking to see. There was no litter. I didn't see a cigarette butt or anything on the street until I got across the railroad tracks. There was a chip wrapper, a bag of chips by the curb, and when I got up to the library, somebody had lost a gardening glove. And that was it. And we got miles of sidewalks that aren't just clean, but they're edged. And I thought, wow, our City Beautiful Committee is doing remarkable work. And it was, a lot of people agreed with me on that, and give credit where credit's due. And then something else special coming up, and anybody that's listening that would like to be a part of it, maybe 30, 45 minutes travel time, an hour most. We're going to, I think this is Teacher Appreciation Initiative 3.0. I believe this will be our third year of doing it. We work with the Watertown and the Lebanon Chamber of Commerce, the Association of Realtors, Leadership Wilson, Everyone's Wilson, basically to put a group of folks together on the day the teachers come back right before the students do, just to greet them as they're walking in, to remind them all how much we appreciate our educators. And we'll fan out and do all public and private schools over the course of 2 mornings on Monday and Tuesday, July 29th and 30th. So don't miss an opportunity to sign up. It's not complicated. You hold up a sign that says, "We love our teachers," and
that has received so much attention and so many good marks from everybody that's involved, it seems.
Well, I don't, that started with an idea from Jeff Luttrell. We wanted to do something, and he was speaking to us. It was right out of COVID, because we were still meeting at the Marriott for our luncheon. And I knew we couldn't fix too many of the problems that education in general was dealing with, but the letting folks know that we care and we appreciate them, we can do that. And so we worked on that for quite a while, but we made it happen when the teachers came back that next July, I guess the end of July, the 1st of August, and it's been very well received. And they are very appreciative of the appreciation that we're showing them, and they're asked to do many things, whether it's some want them to be policemen or counselors or therapists and parents, and that most of them probably just want to teach, and it would be a very challenging thing. They would probably fire me before lunch on the first day. I don't know how they do it, but this is just a simple way to let them know they make a difference and they're appreciated.
Well, appreciate you being here. We've got a minute left. I don't know.
Two more quick things.
Okay.
Hey, we'll leave you with this. I was saving it. I know that a lot of folks know about the Costco. MJ is she's all giddy in there. But they're going to have their ribbon cutting on June the 6th, and they'll be open for business, and that's a huge win for Wilson County, Mount Juliet. And then I believe since I've been here the last time, the announcement, the Robinson family has secured Sprouts, which is an organic grocery store. That's one of the most common things that people ask for, and they're finally coming right there by Witt's Barbecue on the old Everett Farm, right on North Mount Juliet Road. They'll end up connecting a sidewalk or a drive right to the chamber office, so won't have to go far for lunch. But thanks, Coleman.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We look forward to your visit each month. Mark Hinesley with the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce, and that is part one of Coleman and Company. But we've got more. Please keep it right here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, lifetime brake pad guarantee. With the purchase of a brake service, replacement brake pads will be provided at no cost for as long as the customer owns the vehicle. Bates Ford, 1780 Franklin Road. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's moving better than it was since they cleared that wreck a few minutes ago on 40 West at Central Pike here in Hermitage. That'll ease up some of that traffic flow that was really starting to slow down coming in right now from Wilson County here into Hermitage on 40 westbound. Again, it's heavy, but it's moving better than it was between Central Pike now all the way up to Donaldson Pike there up by the airport. It continues to build on Vietnam Vets westbound, getting on that ramp to 65 going southbound. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken has new items on a new menu. You gotta check them out. They're all delicious. PrincessHotChicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hey, this is Dr. Derek Gregory, and I'm proud to announce to you the opening of our brand new dental practice, Gregory Dental Group, at 1746 West Main Street, just across the road from Sports Village. Come experience modern dentistry at its best. We're always welcoming new patients, and I truly look forward to taking the best care of all your dental needs. Come by or call us today.
That's Gregory Dental Group, 615-444-0322, or online at myLebanonTNDentist.com. Gregory Dental Group, compassion, knowledge, skill.
Simple banking, simply better. Since 2004, that's been our motto at Cedarstone Bank. I'm Bob McDonald. We know that financial decisions can sometimes be complicated, but that doesn't mean solutions have to be. Whether you're buying a new home, renovating your existing home, or buying a car, or maybe you're a business that needs to purchase equipment for the building you operate from, we have all the technology that will allow you to do your banking online or on the telephone, or you can come in one of our beautiful branches and see our great people. With locations in Lebanon, Mount Juliet, and Nashville, Cedarstone Bank. Simple banking, simply better.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A 70% chance of showers and eventual 100% chance of showers and storms by this afternoon. The high of 78. As we head into the overnight, a 70% chance of showers and storms, and that low down to 61. This look at weather brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm Stormy Clausen.
We welcome you to part two of Coleman and Company here on a Wednesday. John Langford is here, and John is ready to talk about what he does. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Coleman. As you know, I'm the local Edward Jones financial advisor here in town, and today I wanted to talk about it's probably going to be a two-part segment for this week and next week on rules of the road.
Rules of the road.
So what those are 10 sound principles for investing. And really and truly, though we don't think that we have to always, follow every rule to a T, you do have some guidelines that you have to be within whenever you're talking about your investing and for retirement, and also to make sure that you have enough for a rainy day as well. So we're going to go through rules 1 through 5, if that's all right with you. Is that okay?
Let's see if we can do that.
All right, buddy. So the first rule is develop your strategy. So I will tell you, we run the gamut. I think our youngest client may be 7 years old, and our oldest one is 99 right now in my office. So when you have a 99-year-old, they're not going to invest the same way that a 20-year-old will. So for each person is developing their own personal strategy and what they would like to achieve, whether that would be more for the income side or more for the growth side. The younger you are, usually the older you get, the more conservative you get in terms of investing. So that is really important. And what would surprise you is that I have some people in their 80s that are 100% in the stock market too. Oh. So just because of your age does not mean that determines exactly where you're going to be. It's just that, and that leads into rule number 2. Rule number 2 is understanding risk. What a lot of people don't realize is they look at the stock market and they say, well, shoot, everybody's been getting good return the last couple of years, and then a year like 2022 happens, and the stock market was down 20% that year. Well, when that occurs, they have to understand what they're getting into. And some people look at individual stocks. I'll give you a good example. Do you remember a company called Enron? Mm-hmm. So Enron was just shy of being worth $1 billion in 2002. And the day before they went bankrupt, they were a 4-star stock. Now, if you had owned that stock, you would have gotten back about 13 cents on the dollar.
Wow.
However, if you'd owned a mutual fund that had Enron as one of its 100 holdings inside of there, that mutual fund may have been down 2, maybe 3%, but you didn't lose your shirt over it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't realize that when they get into investing, and they think, oh, well, you know what, I can put all my money into one stock. Well, you know what, you can also go to the casino down in Las Vegas and put it on red or black too. You may win, you may not.
Right.
So it's understanding that risk, and then also inside of there, from an income standpoint, there's also risk inside of bonds. There's even risk inside of CDs, because with CDs, you may get a good CD this time, and then if the Fed cuts the rates, you may not get a great CD rate the next time.
Right.
Down the road. But that's why understanding risk is so heavily important. We actually do a risk tolerance questionnaire with our clients once a year, because sometimes risk will change, or your thoughts on risk will change as time goes by. And then also when somebody comes in, so that way we have a good gauge of what we can put them into to help from a return risk rewards balance inside of there. Rule number 3 is diversify for a solid foundation. I had someone come in last week that was with another company, and they brought in their statements, and they had 8 different mutual funds. They were all large cap growth mutual funds. Do you know that in every mutual fund, the top 3 holdings, Microsoft, Apple, and then also I think it was United Healthcare was in the top 5 as well. They thought they owned 8 different things, but they all owned the same thing.
Yeah, right.
Inside of there. And the reason why was because, guess what? Large cap growth mutual funds have done well. But if you have everything inside of there, guess what else happens? When times go bad, they all go bad. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you need to have some balance inside of there across there. Number 4, stick with quality. So on sticking with quality, that goes back to the old Warren Buffett adage on invest in things that you believe in.
Yeah.
Invest in things that have been around a long time. Invest in things that have increased their dividends for at least the last 10 years. And if you do that, you'll be okay, even in good markets, down markets, and in between markets. And then rule number 5 is invest for the long term. I ask people when they come in and they bring in their money and they say, hey, John, I'm going to need this in a year. Well, guess what? You probably don't need to be in the stock market then. Because the stock market goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways. Over the long term, the S&P 500 is average close to 11% per year. But it's not 11% every year.
Right. Yep.
And depending upon when you need that money will determine on how we need to invest it. And if we do those, then that is a great way for us to be able to help those people achieve their financial goals while also giving them some guidelines and rules for this is why we do what we do and how we do it.
All right. Well, I look forward to next week when you give us the last 5 of those 10. And we'll remind everybody, John is located at 1424 West Padua Parkway, Suite C, right here in Lebanon. And his phone number is 615-443-2090, 2090. John D. Langford with Edward T. Jones. And you have the last word quickly here.
All right. Well, hey, I just want to tell you, y'all are in for some good stuff from Tom. I'm on the City Planning Commission, and I'm looking forward to hearing about what Wilson County Planning has for us.
All right. Well, John, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate it. John Langford, Edward D. Jones, and we are 20 and a half minutes before the hour. And I want to welcome Tom Brashear. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. I'm also anxious to hear the last 5 rules of the road for investing.
Well, it's been a while since you've been with us. I tell you what, the first part of the year when we feature the legislators, and rightly so, but they do take up a couple of our slots each week, and I don't know, I've had quite a bit of demand to be on Coleman and Company, it seems like, since the first of the year, which is good. Appreciate that as well. But nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Your official title,
Director of Development Services.
Planner, but it's a little more.
Yeah, I'm the Director of Development Services, and that's over the Planning Office, which is my native department, and then I'm also over Building Inspection, Zoning Enforcement Office, and the Stormwater and Engineering.
Well, you and I got to know each other right after you came here, and you have been a regular for me. Not a regular, meaning you don't have a special time every month to come out here, but every time I need somebody, you're on my list to call, and I always appreciate having you. And you've always been really good at explaining what your job is all about, what is going on as far as planning and regulations and this sort of thing, and you always bring a lot of good information for us. So I'm ready to listen today.
Well, today I've got a little mix of the good, the bad, and the ugly, but I want to start because it's springtime and because we did have a recent pretty significant rain event. I wouldn't say it was one of the most intense rain events we've ever had, but we did have a pretty good rain event last week that, as you said yesterday, closed schools a day or two, depending on which school district you were in.
Right.
And I think that's a good opportunity for us to mention to everybody that everybody in Wilson County, to my knowledge, should have flood insurance available to them, whether or not they're in what's called a regulatory floodplain. And if you're not in a regulatory floodplain, you should get what's called a preferred rate. So on a $250,000 house, that may be, my best guess, it'd be about $400 to $600 a year, just based on what I'm told at the different seminars I have to go to for that part of my job. I'm also the floodplain manager for the county.
Yeah.
Another piece of information, we are in Wilson County and Watertown, which is where we have floodplain jurisdiction in my department. We are members of the famous community rating system. Now, what that does is if you have a flood insurance policy, up until this year, we've been rated a 9, which gave you a 5% discount on your flood insurance rates. We were just recently awarded an 8 rating. And this works similar to, I don't know if you're familiar with fire ratings for ISO insurance and stuff for homeowners insurance rates. It works similarly to that. In fact, ISO and Verisk are the companies that do that for fire insurance, and they're doing it for FEMA for flood insurance ratings. And we were recently given an 8 rating, both in Watertown and Wilson County, which should allow our flood policy holders to enjoy up to a 10% flood insurance rate reduction.
And meaning an 8 rating is better than a 9.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
You want to go down, not up. Here.
Yes. Kind of like golf, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's we're pretty proud of that we jumped a rating at our 5-year review. They review us every 5 years. And
what might have gone into that decision to come down to an 8?
Well, the community rating system is all about, at least initially, making sure that you're keeping good records and making sure that you are upholding the flood insurance standards that FEMA has rolled down and the state has subsequently rolled down to the local level, making sure it may be things like having heightened standards on building elevations if you're within a floodplain, things like that. And I happen to like it because as a floodplain administrator, and we've talked before about the many hats that I and my departments have to wear, it kind of keeps us on task about making sure that we're doing a good job in the realm of flood insurance or flood standards that we're supposed to uphold, as well as response in disasters.
Well, now you mentioned Wilson County and Watertown, which you have jurisdiction over. What about Lebanon and Mount?
Lebanon and Mount Juliet have their own floodplain administrators, and I do not think either one of them are involved at present in the community rating system, but I encourage them every chance I get.
All right.
So,
but for Wilson County and Watertown, that is
for those residents that have or want flood insurance policies, you should enjoy a 10% insurance rate discount for flood insurance.
Okay, before you get on to something else, why don't we go ahead and take our break? It's about that time. Tom Brashear is with us, and we'll talk more in a moment on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota. Write it off the lot. Write it off your taxes. Visit Absolute Kubota. Take advantage of the Section 179 tax deduction when you buy new Kubota construction equipment, tractors, RTVs, hay tools, or turf products. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. I'm looking at a crash out here in Murfreesboro, Rutherford County. It's eastbound on 24 at Joby Jackson. It's got traffic a little bit slow out here. We're just glad it wasn't in the westbound lanes. Now westbound 24 as you leave Rutherford County up into Antioch. That's still carrying a heavy volume of traffic. Still pretty crowded over there in Hermitage right now. We had a crash earlier. It slowed down that heavy traffic coming in from Wilson County into Hermitage on 40 going westbound. That remains heavy. Same thing there on Vietnam Vets westbound as you come out of Hendersonville towards Conference Drive. That's carrying a heavy volume of traffic also. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Middle Tennessee. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Your 401k is likely one of your most important assets, but it's only one part of a comprehensive retirement strategy. Edward Jones can help you understand how your retirement assets fit into your entire retirement picture, so you can work toward meeting your unique retirement goals. Contact me, John Langford, your Lebanon Edward Jones financial advisor at 1424 West Bedore Parkway. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
That's been
Coleman and Company. Thanks for joining us. Tom Brashear is with us, Director of Development Services for Wilson County, and we've just talked about the floodplain. And what else you got this morning?
Well, sort of going through on that same point, we're also doing a sub-watershed study for the Spencer Creek watershed with the Corps of Engineers. We've partnered with the Corps of Engineers over the past year, and they're about halfway through that project. They've got 8 tasks, and the tasks that they have undertaken so far include data and model collection, which included some public involvement of people coming out and showing pictures and dates of what happened where in the Spencer Creek watershed in terms of flooding events in the past historically. And they also took some of the historic rainfall events that they had and sort of rolled that into their data collection. And then they did a flood frequency analysis. They developed a hydrologic model, and they're still developing their hydraulic modeling. And they should have that done here at the end of this month, I believe. The future phases are where it really gets productive for us, and that the future build out and precipitation intensity analysis will kind of tell us an idea in that watershed of what happens with build out, projected build out, and precipitation intensity. As we know, trends are increasing over time, and kind of show us sort of what the analysis of that watershed overall is. And then they're going to develop flood preparedness products, and those are important for things like emergency services. They'll get maybe map books that show them with certain intensity rainfall events what they can expect in terms of projected inundations that they need to prepare for, where they may need to go on and station people to start blocking roads if it's going to inundate a road or something of that nature. So that's really important. Then they'll come up with a flood risk measure analysis, which is similar to what when the city of Lebanon did their partnership with the Corps of Engineers on Sinking Creek going through town.
Right.
And you may recall they came up with a possible idea of doing a large retention facility south of Stumpy Lane. It'll be those types of things, and it may also be like, well, do we need to reanalyze some of our local design standards on stormwater design and planning with regard to new development that comes online. Right now, we detain for the 2 through 25-year storm event by design in most subdivisions or site plans with safe passage of a 100-year floodplain. Now, that's the common terminology. It doesn't mean that a 100-year storm event is going to happen once every 100 years. It actually is like a 1% chance on any given day of occurring. And there's also a duration that's associated with that. For instance, last week we had, up in the north end of the county, we had some areas that had anywhere from 5.1 inches all the way up to almost 5 3/4 of an inch, and maybe more, based on some information we got from the Corps. And depending on the duration, that could have reached possibly a 100-year interval analysis based on if it occurred within 6 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours. 24-hour event, which is kind of the standard thing people talk about, in that area is about 7.43 inches. A 12-hour event's about 6.08 inches. If you get that much rain, you're reaching what is referred to commonly as a 100-year event. So 50-year event is probably a little closer to what it was. Between 5.43 and 6.67 inches. So, we had a pretty intense rainfall event. Just for what it's worth, the May 2010 flood that everybody kind of points to was more of a 500-year event. So it was a very intense, long duration storm.
Well, the fact that we have so much building going on and there's so much more roofs in certain areas especially than there used to be, that is part of what you're talking about.
It is.
Right? How important is that, and will there come a time when building would be denied because of the flood that it could cause?
Well, everybody has land use rights that include development rights of their property if they can meet the zoning and subdivision criteria. The question would not be necessarily about, do we stop, do we shut a gate, put a gate up and say no more? It would probably be more like, do our standards need to increase? And there is some discussion amongst academicians, at least, in the stormwater industry, the floodplain manager industry, about, well, are our standards, I told you, we typically design right now to detain for, or I guess, accommodate the 2 through 25-year storm and safe passage of 100-year storm intensity. Do those standards need to go to maybe a 50-year storm or 75? And there's some discussion that's starting amongst, again, academics and such about maybe we do, and that's based on things like, if you want to say, the Waverly flood or what's been happening in Houston the past few years, and things like that. And that's a good transition point. We have grown extraordinarily over the past 5 years. This year, just tracking by adequate facilities taxes payments, which are in the cities and out in the county as well, our numbers appear to be on track to match maybe what we did in 2019, between 12 and 1,500 single-family units, and that would include apartments, condos, and everything else. In the years between 2019 and now, we've had years that were as high as 3,300 or better single-family units added to Wilson County in a single year, fiscal year, which is how we track it at the county. So this year we've kind of buoyed back down. Lebanon is still sort of leading the pack on residential permits by a long shot. Historically, Mount Juliet has been the permit leader, but over the past 4 or 5 years, Lebanon has really taken the lead, and then some. Wilson County's kind of plotted along about 200 to 400 single-family units, depending on the year. But everybody's, including Lebanon's, permit numbers or adequate facilities payments have went down this past fiscal year. And I think that's largely a result of the interest rates as well as price points that people are asking on housing units right now, maybe be a little high with the interest rate.
How concerned are you about this growth and the potential results, and maybe especially as it pertains to flooding?
Well, I mean, it's obviously a concern, and it's obviously something we try every day to do a good job with, keeping in mind that the good Lord is going to decide how much rain and when that we get it. But that being said, we have tried in Wilson County to, when I first got here, we didn't have an engineering department or a stormwater department in 2001. In 2006, we hired our first engineer and started our stormwater department at the behest of a mandate from the federal government called National Pollutant Discharge Elimination Systems, requiring water quality to be overseen. We took advantage of that to go ahead and hire an engineer at that time and begin not only doing what we had done before, which was paying somebody to review the plans, but also following it through to seeing that it was installed correctly. And since then, we've improved to the point that I feel like we are at least at the standards that our brethren in the cities and other local jurisdictions are. We're generally following the same design standards and everything else. So it is important. And as I said before, there may come a day where the academics can convince local jurisdictions that we do need to increase our standards, and that's still up in the air, because when you increase standards, you're in large part you're taking up more land for those stormwater facilities, which takes away in turn land for lots to be created, and there's a balance there, as with anything.
And you are able to get people's attention pretty well? Do they surely respect you, and hopefully they listen?
I will tell you, as many hats as I wear, I also pay some engineers to undertake this review on our behalf, and installation review, as well as my stormwater department, both for water quality and water quantity. So it's not all about them respecting me; it's about them respecting the stamp of the reviewing engineer that we've been.
Well, I was thinking more of people that it affects, like realtors, like even other government leaders and this sort of thing. I
would think from the perspective of a developer, they're trying to get as many lots as they can. Not always. Sometimes it's more about quality than quantity, and a higher price point. But they're trying to get as much profitability out of their property as they can, and anything that I'm requiring of them obviously affects that, because it's additional expense that they're putting into something that's not being realized in necessarily lot value. Now, I could argue that it's, as opposed to allowing those lots to flood, it probably is helping their lot value, but there are times where they may be saying, well, I'm going to meet the requirement, but I'm going to meet the minimum requirement. Yeah. But of late, honestly, a lot of developers, just because, and I'll get to my next transition here in a minute and then talk about this a little bit, a lot of developers are seeing the writing on the wall with regard to the constituencies that are out there, the kind of the growth fatigue that's out there, that they need, particularly if they're going to go for a rezoning, they may actually commit to designing drainage systems at a heightened standard than what our minimum is. And I've seen that several times in the past year and a half, 2 years in Wilson County, which is not a bad thing. It means that we're getting hopefully better quality designed residential development.
All right, we got about 2.5 minutes left.
Well, the last thing I want to talk about is the land use plan. We had a growth plan that kind of intervened in the middle of our land use plan project. And what I mean by that is Mount Juliet requested the growth coordinating committee be reconvened. They were proposing to extend their planning jurisdiction and growth jurisdiction to encompass initially pretty well everything west of 109, I'm sorry, excepting the Saundersville Road Corridor and Saundersville Peninsula. And it took us about 1.5 years to negotiate through that, and they ultimately only incorporated into their growth area, expanded their growth area by about 20 parcels as opposed to all that land. But the rub was, we were trying to undertake a land use plan, and they were taking roughly a third of the county initially that would have then been in their land use plan. It didn't make a lot of sense for us to proceed on doing a lot of land use planning if it was going to be in their jurisdiction and their land use plan jurisdiction. So once we've gotten that settled, we are now back in the course of undertaking that project. We are projected to grow as a county. We're a little over 150,000 people as of 2020. We're projected to grow to about 250,000 people by 2045, and that's by Woods and Pools projections. That's not something that we've done locally. And
that's quite a bit of growth.
Yes, but we're also projected to get quite a bit of jobs growth as well. So there's a lot of, as I said, maybe the permitting may be down a little bit, but we've got a lot of people with big plans that have come to see us of late. We've got, of course, you may have heard about some controversy out in the Linwood Road area. We've also got something down in Couchville Pike that, in return for developing, is promising some pretty significant improvements to the road infrastructure down there to take care of some flooding issues that we have, is their idea, or at least address it. And there's just a lot going on in Wilson County right now.
Well, I believe it, and sitting here listening to you, I believe it even more. But thanks for coming out this morning, and we appreciate you are busy. You have a lot to look over, but Tom, it's always good to have you here and have you tell us about it.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. That is it for this Wednesday. Join us tomorrow for Coleman and Company. Till then, I wish you a wonderful day.